The free agency season is almost here, just a couple weeks away from when the market officially opens up. So today, on Titans Today, we talk about the wide receivers that I could see Ran Carthon, Amy Adams-Strunk, and Brian Callahan going after and trying to add to hopefully a revamped Titans offense. And honestly, there's some names that you've seen, there's some names that you haven't seen, and a little bit of more information on somebody that you may want to know a lot about. That guy being, well, that'd be Tee Higgins, who is our first guy on the wide receiver free agent targets. And now I have him at 1 because, well, that's been the talk of the town. That's been the guy we've focused, honestly, all of our content on for a lot in terms of free agency. I do have somewhat of some bad updates. I don't know how to put this, but basically there is a growing problem. It seems as though the Bengals, who were originally saying they were probably not going to use the franchise tag on Tee Higgins, well, now they're saying they are going to use it on him. It'll be about $20 million a year for them. And honestly, considering what they've seen, Tee Higgins almost, in some ways, being the number 2 wide receiver in this market, maybe in some minds, the wide receiver 1 in the free agency market, that franchise tag to them has looked a lot more enticing. And now it seems as though they're going to use it, which stinks because Tee Higgins has played exceptional in his first 4 years in the National Football League. I mean, you just look at these numbers. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in 2021 and 2022. Had a little bit of a down year this past year, had a nagging hamstring injury. Still, though, 15.6 in the average, 5 touchdowns through just 12 games. It's really nice. Ultimately, this guy would be a huge addition. I'm not sitting here to say that, oh no, he's going to be franchise tagged. I just want to make you aware that that is a now bigger possibility than I once thought. And so I think we have to kind of start talking about it of, okay, well, how in the world are we going to go about this? Who are some other free agent wide receivers we get to the Titans going after and potentially getting in the upcoming free agency season? Well, guess what? Tee Higgins is not the only guy. Mike Evans, one of those guys who potentially we could see coming in here. And if Tee Higgins is franchise tagged, it is very clearly Mike Evans and then maybe the field behind him. Now, in a lot of ways, I think he's the safest option that I'm going to present you today because Tee Higgins has only been in the league for 4 years. Got had a nagging hamstring injury this past year. But also, if you look at Mike Evans, he is growing in age. He is 30, going to be 31 before the season starts. And so that's a little bit of a concern in some ways. But I still think he's the safest option of the bunch because, well, he hasn't had a season in his career where he has had below 1,000 yards. That's right, 10 years, 10 1,000-yard seasons. 14 plus on the average every year since 2020. Double digits in terms of touchdowns, 3 of the 4 years, just that 1 year in 2022. Obviously last year when the offense was not exactly the best, only had 6 touchdowns, but still had 1,100 yards. Overall, Mike Evans, again, has a lot of positives, and he's a great option to have your Ran Carthon and Amy Adams-Strunk. And the reason he's an option is because you have a ton of cap space. Ultimately, you are one of 5 teams that have a really high chance to go get whoever the heck you want because you have the money and you may as well use it. And we talked with Amy Adams-Strunk, we've talked with Ran Carthon, we've talked with Brian Callahan. They want to revamp this team, and it starts with the offense. Defense will be worked on. Denard Wilson, I think, is a great hire at DC, and I guarantee you it's going to be better than this past year. But the main focus is trying to grow this offense as they want to become an offensive-minded team with Will Levis at the helm. Let's continue on, though, because I think there's some other wide receivers that we have yet to mention that really could be a good option. One of them being Michael Pittman Jr. And I like this guy a lot, and I will tell you why in just a minute. Before that, obviously, free agency season is just a couple weeks away. Let's say 2 weeks from now, you're sitting at home, you get an alert. Titans Today posted a video, Titans signed Mike Evans, Titans signed Michael Pittman. Well, you're going to want to go run and put a Titan shirt on, right? Well, guess what? We got a deal for you right here. If you go to chatsports.com/TEN long sleeve, you're going to get this for 40% off. So when the Titans make that move, when you get that alert that we've posted a video saying they've signed somebody, you can go run to your closet. You can put this on. You can wear that proudly that week, and you can wear it proudly to work if you want. And bang, everybody knows, guess what? You're a Titans fan, you're proud to be it because you got Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins, and one of these 5 amazing wide receivers we're going to present to you today. So once again, chatsports.com/TEN longsleeve. The deal is ending soon, so make sure you get it. We're going to put this link in the comments, in the description. Heck, I may even go get one myself. TEN longsleeve, chatsports.com. Put it down there in the comment section, in the description. Go click on that link. 40% off. Get it while it lasts. All right, here's the reason why I like Michael Pittman. Because you're stealing from your division foes. ultimately you're having to deal with everybody in your division twice a year. And so if you take a threat, a guy who was honestly really ripped up your secondary in the couple times he's faced them, well, that's a big help because not only does he know how this AFC South work, he also is now on your side of the ball. Honestly, Michael Pittman overall has been a solid wide receiver throughout his entire career. And this past year, everybody kind of looked at him and thought, man, he's going to have a down year. He's going to do this. Well, if a down year is a 1,000-yard season, yeah, I'll take that. 4 TDs is, something he doesn't really do a lot to score the touchdown, but I think that also is part of the fact that the Colts have had Jonathan Taylor. You just kind of think about the way they handle him. He's going to be the one to get the touchdowns down inside. Obviously, Anthony Richardson didn't play too much this year, but that's a running quarterback, Gardner Minshew. They're going to try and push them in the end zone that way. Now, in terms of Pittman over his career, well, guess what? We've got a pretty solid wide receiver here. Obviously, 2020, the shortened year, only had 503 yards. But if you take that out here, 2021, 1,000 yards. 2023, 1,000 yards. 2022, 925. Now, still, right at 1,000 yards. The average was a little bit lower, but the touchdowns are the only thing that is somewhat concerning, and that shouldn't be that big a concern because ultimately you're going to have, hopefully, Tajay Spears. You may re-sign Derrick Henry. He could be your touchdown asset. And honestly, I like Will Levis in a potential way to try and push him in, like a little bit of a Titans tush push in some manner. So I think there's a lot of ways you can go about that. I don't want to worry too much about Michael Pittman being less on the touchdowns. Obviously, Mike Evans having a lot of those. Well, that could maybe be a positive there. So I compare these two. If Tee Higgins is not available, who's your pick? Good grief. Who's your pick? Mike Evans or Michael Pittman? Type E for Evans or type P for Pittman. I want you to let me know in the comment section of today's video. E for Evans or P for Pittman or however the heck I just said it just moments ago. Get down in the comment section. Let me know. All right, let's continue on here with Marquise Brown, who is a speed demon, let's just say that. Now, ultimately, Marquise has been a topic of free agency for a long time because he started out so hot with the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, was then traded to the Cardinals, where he spent the past 2 years. But again, the main thing he brings to the table is speed and agility. He gets off the line quick. He's able to create space. His hands aren't the greatest, but you don't really need that when you're freaking sprinting down the field. Now, Spotrac has his market value at about 4 years and just under $60 million. Now, if you want to put that into terms, that's a little bit around, $10, $15 million, somewhere in that range. 12.5 exactly. So ultimately, that's pretty good price. 12.5 a year. You got around $80 million in cap space. That's nice. So 12.5, $14 million. Obviously, there's a couple of different places that have this. So Spotrac's got one number. Over the Cap's got another number. I'm sure your mom has a number. I don't really know. There's a bunch of stuff, has a bunch of things. So that's just the way it goes. There's a bunch of numbers you can put in there. But ultimately, this guy is really good when it comes to a lot of different facets of his game. And he's proven himself in multiple different teams. With the Ravens back in 2020 and 2021, he had 1,000 yards, and then he had the 769. The thing I like about him, he has touchdown value. Go to 2020, you see those 8 touchdowns. He is able to go over and just continuously get in the end zone there. Arizona, not so much. But again, what does Arizona have? Oh, that's right. They have Kyler Murray, a rushing quarterback. Oh, that's right. They had James Conner, who was a touchdown menace the past couple of years. So honestly, in some ways, Marquise Brown is a good contrast to D-Hop. Now, why do I say this? Because Mike Evans is a little bit comparable to D-Hop. They have the same type of play style. They're not the same. I don't want to say that, but like in terms of the way they kind of characterize themselves on the field and the way they catch the ball, very similar. Marquise Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, complete opposites. It's speed versus I'm going to go up and steal this ball in the air, and you're not going to have to do anything about it, and I'm also going to beat you with my feet. Marquise Brown is just going to put somebody on skates throughout the entire season, and I think it'd be really fun to watch and have on the team if you can't get Tee Higgins. I will say, like I said, when the Titans make the move, if the Titans make the move, we'll have you covered right here on Titans Today. So hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? We've got so much coverage and all for you. We're putting out videos 6 times a week, and we want you to be a part of it. So hit that subscribe button because more subscribers, more views. Maybe one day we'll be putting out a video every single day of the week. So hit that subscribe button. You want to join us today. All right, the final option, Calvin Ridley. Also in the AFC South, but a little different because he's only played with the Jacksonville Jaguars for 1 year. Do want to talk about something. Had a little bit of a gambling issue a couple years ago and had to step away from football for other reasons as well. So he missed the entirety of the 2022 season. Came back this year, and, I'm not going to say he was underwhelming because he was a 1,000-yard receiver, but the way people looked at him in preseason, you thought this guy was going to go for 1,400. You thought this guy was going to be a top 5 wide receiver in the league. He was maybe top 10, and then maybe that'd be number 8, 9, or 10. The value behind him, though, is crazy. What he brings to the table is crazy, and he's still decently young for the most part. I know that he had a lot of time in college. I think he's around 28 years old, so still decently young. He's 29. There you go, 29 years old. So not crazy old considering how much he's been in the league, but it's kind of crazy when you think about how old Calvin Ridley is, 29. You think that's crazy. You think he's so young, and then Mike Evans is 30, almost 31. Maybe he's not as young as I think. I don't know. So I think he'd be a good option, but ultimately, I think this is probably the lower level option, so that's also why I'm going to have him there. Again, we'll have to see, though. We don't really know. Who's the wide receiver that you want the Titans to sign in 2024? Do you want to bring back the old Arizona Cardinals wide receiver duo and get Marquise Brown and have DeAndre Hopkins? Well, let me know. Is there somebody on that list that you like more than the other? Is there somebody that I didn't mention that you want to see in a Titans uniform? Curtis Samuel, Darnell Mooney, just to name a couple. Let me know in the comment section down below. That's how we're going to finish out this show. I really appreciate you watching. And again, as always, tighten up and peace out.